Hi everybody, this is Lisa, your librarian at Warren County Community College. Today's presentation is going to be about using the library resources for your Comp 2 papers, your literary analysis papers, where you have to find criticism about the author and short stories or poems or what have you that you've chosen for your papers. So everything I'm going to show you is available through the library's website. So to get there, for those of you who may not know or may have forgotten, you can go to www.warren.edu and click on library. And that brings you to the library's website. So what you're going to need to use for this particular class and the papers you're writing in this class are strictly the databases. That's what you need to be able to use. So the databases, all you have to do is look for the tab that says Library Online Resources, and that's the tab for the databases. So you just click right on the tab. And for this project, you really should use EBSCO Discovery Service. It has multiple literature databases within it. So all you have to do is go ahead and click on the title of the database right here. And it's going to ask you for your username and password. This is the same username and password that you use to get onto your student email, the Wi-Fi back when we were on campus, the campus computers, and the library printers. So your username is going to be your first initial last name. It's not going to be your student ID number. That's what you use to get into My Warren. This is a completely separate system. So it's going to be your first initial last name, and your password will be, it starts out as your 2-digit month of birth, 2-digit day of birth, last 4 of your social security number. However, if you've changed that, then this password will be whatever you changed it to. Now, if you don't remember what your password is, but you filled out the security questions when you're on campus, you can go and try to log into your student email, and you should have a prompt there that says forgot password, and it'll walk you through your questions, your security questions. However, if you didn't do that, we go back to the library's page here. Okay, there is a tab on here that says usernames and passwords. So if you click on that, it goes through this account, which is the network email account, and it goes through how that works. But then at the bottom, it says what happens if nothing works. And it gives you the email address to contact IT. So you email them, and the email is support@warren.edu. Tell them your name, your ID number, that you're a student at Wccc, and that you don't remember, you don't know your password to get into your student network email account. And they're working regular hours right now, so usually like during the day, Monday through Friday. So they will answer you as soon as they can within their work schedule. So that's who you need to contact if you're having any problems with your passwords to get into the databases. All right, so you can see I have my first initial last name. I put in my password, I hit login. And it's going to take me to the splash page, or the first page for the databases. And it gives you a search box, just like you would have in Google. The only difference is that this box doesn't operate exactly like Google does. You can't put in like a question or a whole phrase or a whole sentence. It's using a keyword search. So, for example, for this paper, let's say that I am looking at, oh, I don't know, we'll use Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, because most people are familiar with that, and I'm sure we'll find information on it. You want to stick to a keyword search. So if you go to this drop down, it also gives you a title and author search. Title means that it's going to look for the title of the articles, not necessarily the title of the poem, short story you're looking at. And author is not the authors like you're looking at in class, it's the author of whoever's writing the actual articles. So you're not going to find, if I were to do an author search on Poe, I would not find what I'm looking for this class. But if I do a keyword search and I put in, I'm just going to put in my author's last name because he's pretty famous, Poe, and The Raven. So what this is telling the database is that I'm looking for these two words, Poe, well, actually 3 words, Poe, as well as The Raven, and by putting "and" in between, I'm saying that I want these two things to be found together in the results that it gives me. So then I go ahead and hit search. and I'm going to get all kinds of results. So the one thing I'm going to give you advice on for this particular paper is the results you're looking at, you want to be careful. You don't have to worry about it being scholarly or peer-reviewed because the majority of the results for this kind of research is going to be scholarly or peer-reviewed. It doesn't matter about the publication date because it can go all the way back to 1869, that's fine, or it can come from 2019. It doesn't matter because you're looking for criticisms that cover your short story and your author, not necessarily something that's dated recently. The one thing I would do is beware of reviews. Okay, so when we're talking about reviews here, and you'll see that throughout here, especially let me see if I can find one for you. Of course I can't today, right? It always happens that way. But if you see something that is a book review, you want to avoid that. That is not the kind of thing you're looking for. Okay, so like right here, review. And it's about the Raven's Tale. It has Edgar Allan Poe, but it's a review. You want to avoid reviews because those are simply book reviews. And 99% of the time, book reviews are produced by the publisher of the book. And therefore, it's not going to be an unbiased opinion. It's going to be something that's going to make readers want to buy more books. So you really want to avoid reviews when you're looking at the results. Books, it says a book, but it doesn't mean that it's an actual physical book that you need. It's actually, will give you a chapter or a portion of a book that has already been published, but you're only going to get the chapter based on what you're looking for here. So it's only going to be this particular chapter or section within another book. Let's go ahead and look at one of those because those are a little trickier. So you can see that when we're looking at these books, it doesn't give us the HTML or full text options that it normally does, like it does for this, for these other things. So that's because while it's searchable in this database, it's actually coming from another database. But what I advise students to do is go ahead and click on the title. And then it's going to open up what we call the detailed record page. And the reason this is important is because it gives you a lot of information about, well, not a lot on this one, but it'll give you information about what you're going to be looking at. And the cite feature right here in EBSCO is a very good cite feature to use. Whereas when we go over to Bloom's, so it tells you that you can view full text from Bloom's literature. So you click on that link. And here it is. Here is the article. The full text of it is here. You can print it out. You can save probably, where's that going to save? Right, so it'll save to your Google Drive. It'll save it as a PDF to your Google Drive if you want. You can download it as a PDF. Don't use this save function right here because it's not going to work because that's based on people who have individual subscriptions to databases, and all we have is an institutional subscription, so you don't want to use that. But you'll notice here it has a citation feature as well, and it gives you a lot of the information. Okay, so this particular article was originally printed in a book called Edgar A. Poe, Mournful and Never-Ending Remembrance by Kenneth Silverman. And that's important because that means that it is a previously published scholarly resource. So you're going to be citing it probably a little differently. If you look at the citation here that's available through Bloom's, it's going to be a pretty good citation. However, you need to double check to make sure that everything's correct on here. And actually, this looks pretty good. Just make sure everything is in the correct order because that's often what we see with Bloom's literature and with a couple of the other literature databases that are separate from EBSCO is sometimes the citation does not have things in the correct order and things like that. So just keep that in mind. Versus the citation back over here, when we're in EBSCO, let's look at that citation. You can scroll down to MLA. So yeah, I think the other citation might be better. Sometimes you have to look at both of them to see which one, oh, get that out of there, to which one is going to be the better citation. And this one actually, I would say is probably the better citation. But as the person doing the research, you are responsible for making sure that your citations are correct. Okay, so I think it's pretty easy to find the information that you need to find as long as you're searching correctly. And again, the best way is the author's last name or the author's full name, and then the title of the short story or poem that you're looking for. You're going to get the best results. Keep in mind that you're not going to find one single review that's going to cover everything you need for your paper. You're going to have to pick and choose and look through different results and things like that, because you need to make sure that you're looking through the text to find what you need. Also, what often happens with the Comp 2 papers are if you pick something that is too obscure as a poem or a short story, what can happen is you might not find a lot of information on that particular short story or poem. If that happens, then what you have to look at is maybe the author's writing as a whole, and look at what other people are saying about that author's writing in general, like their style of writing, you know, things like that. And that therefore you can make a connection to that obscure story or poem to the writer's writing style and what people say about that. Sometimes you have to make those leaps and make those connections between the actual short story and poem and the writer's general criticisms. So hopefully that makes some sense. But once you get in the databases and you start playing around with it, it's pretty easy. Don't get frustrated if you don't find exactly what you're looking for. Just keep looking. You can change up the search string here, but generally that's going to be your best bet. So that's essentially how you're going to be using the databases for this class. Now I want to show you one more thing, or two more things. First of all, I talked about making sure you're using the right citation. So we do have the Mla Style Formatting tab here. If you click on that, it's going to show you how to format an MLA. So these are the basics, you know, the kind of structure and format you need for the actual paper. And this is what your first page should look like. Okay, so we don't want you to do anything but this. This is how it should look like. And if you were to Google MLA formatting, you know, first page formatting, you might get something different from this. This is what we want you to do here at Warren County Community College, and that's why I'm saying you need to follow this kind of structure, okay? You go to the in-text citation, and there's information about how to do an in-text citation. Go to Works Cited page, and it gives you an example of what a works cited page should look like, including the hanging indents, you know, that it needs to be titled Works Cited. You have to continue your page numbers, and everything's double spaced, just like the rest of your paper should be. Now, if I go back to this first tab, over here on the right-hand side under Quick Links, there is the MLA's, WCCC's MLA 8 Citation Format Guide. This is a PDF file, and it's kind of a lot. It's a long document, but what it does is it gives you how to the structure of just about every kind of citation you might need while you're taking classes here at Warren County Community College, including, you know, how to cite your textbooks. And it goes through different types of textbooks, how to cite them all. And it not only tells you like the structure of what it should look like, but it also gives you an example. So if you have print resources like books and things like that, that's also there. But I think more importantly right now is if you're on page 14, it starts the online sources page, and that includes the example of a journal article from a WCCC database. So let me see if I can do this here. When you're looking at the citation over here back in Bloom's, you go into that cite feature, you want to make sure it lines up with what is here. So author's last name, first name, title of the article, title of the journal that it came from. And this one didn't come from a journal, it came from a book. So they put the title of the book. And then they did like a book citation. And then the name of the database it was found on, the URL. Without the HTTP information, it just starts at whatever comes after that, and then an access date. So that looks pretty darn good. But this is where you want to double check that citation is right here through this document. And again, like I said, it gives you the structure of the citation, the structure of the in-text citation, because remember, you should not have any citations on your works cited list that are not cited in your paper. okay, and vice versa. You should not have anything cited within your paper as an in-text citation that doesn't also have an entry in the works cited list. They go together because one is a shortened version of the other. So you can't have one without the other. And then it gives you an example of what that should look like. There's also how to cite the ebooks that we have, um, how to cite the previously published scholarly article, which includes that information from Bloom's Literature and Masterplots, which is probably what I should have looked at in the first place. Title of the original, yeah, that would have been better. This would be a better way to look at the Bloom's Literature and the Masterplots citations right here, because most of the stuff that's on Bloom's and on Masterplots has been already included in a different publication. So you're citing something that was already published in a different publication, but you're finding it online as a single source. So hopefully that makes information. Oh my goodness, I'm stumbling over my words, guys. Sorry about that. That should make sense. That's what I meant to say. All right, so there's also how to cite websites. So if you're getting your poem from a website, things like that, it gives you information on how to do that. If you end up citing a streaming film that you find or an online video from like YouTube and stuff or a podcast, all of this information is here on how to cite it. So that's why this document is really important, because it will give you how to cite just about everything you need. Additionally, at the very end, it also gives you a sample works cited page and how that should be set up and how that will end up looking. All right, so that you can see for yourself exactly what your works cited page should look like. Okay, so that's a little bit on MLA style that is available through the library's website. And finally, I want you to tell you, if you run into any problems at all, anything going on you need help with, please go ahead and contact me. I am working from home, but I'm here for you guys whenever you need me. So you can email me through the WCCC library at warren.edu. You can call 908-835-2337 and leave a voicemail on that number for me, and I will call you back. Just let me know what it is you're having problems with, your name, your phone number, and what a good time to call you back would be, and I will get back to you. We can also set up one-on-one video chats and things like that so that I can help you through whatever you might be having problems with. But you need to be sure to reach out to me to let me know you're having problems, because I'll never know that you need help until you do. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.